Well, the final sitting week of the year is about to begin in Canberra. The priority for the government is to pass its environment laws, which until now has been friendless in the Senate anyway. Murray Watt has offered some concessions to both the Coalition and the Greens, but will either bite. Joining us live this morning, the Liberal Senator Jane Hume. Good to see you, Jane. So it's the preference of business groups to have the Coalition on board this. Will you?
Pete, Australia needs strong environmental laws. We all agree on that, but they need to not just protect the environment, they need to protect jobs and investment and industry as well. The Coalition still has some concerns about this legislation, and it's made that clear from the very beginning. But we've also proposed a constructive path forward. Sussan Ley and Angie Bell have written to the government outlining their concerns around things like definitions of net gain and unacceptable impact, around the powers and the structure of the new EPA body, what streamlined pathways look like for approvals. There are things that need to be done here, but there is a solution. We want to work with the government. We want to work with them constructively. The ball is now in their court. They can rush this and fail, or they can take their time to do it right and work with the Coalition to get the outcome that will serve the country, the environment and our economy.
Well, it might be back in your court now, because if heavy penalties for businesses which violate the new laws are reduced, and that may well be a concession by Murray Watt, would that be enough to get you on board then?
Certainly those very excessive penalties, up to $875 million, were a concern for the Coalition. That was one of the 7 issues that were outlined by Sussan Ley and by Angie Bell in that letter to the government. That's a good sign that the government has started moving in its negotiations again. There's still more to go. We want to see these laws passed as much as anybody, but we don't want to see them rushed through. There is no need to rush them through. It's much better to get them right for the sake of the economy, for the sake of the environment.
Will it get done this week, or is this a next year problem?
Well, I would hope that it would get done thoroughly, no matter what the outcome is. I know the government are desperate to get it through this week. They still haven't exactly explained why. These changes have been on the books for around 5 years now. That's how old the Samuel Review is. That review was actually commissioned by Sussan Ley when she was Environment Minister. We know that these changes are necessary. Businesses need clarity, but also the environment needs protection at the same time. Now, I don't understand exactly why, with a 1,500-page piece of legislation, we need to rush it through in just a couple of weeks. There is time to get this right. It's too important to get wrong. That's why we've proposed these changes to the government and proposed a constructive path forward.
Isn't the rush to get it done now, though?
In their court right now.
Yeah, I know, but isn't the rush to get things...
There is a rush to get it now.
Yeah.
The rush to get it done now is from the government side of things. Murray Watt would like to have his desk cleared by Christmas, but that's not the role of the Parliament. It's certainly not the role of the Senate to make an environment minister's life easier at Christmas time. We want to make sure that these laws are properly scrutinised. It's a very thick and dense piece of legislation, and it's too important to get wrong. Now, we've proposed a constructive path forward. If the government can come to the party on that constructive path forward, well, then we'll see what we can do. We want certainty for business. We want the environment appropriately protected. But to get this right is too important.
So like you said, one of those 7 issues have been ticked off now. Is it a demand for you that all 7 of them are addressed, or are you movable on some of them? Is there an expectation that, you know, as part of a negotiation, you might not get everything that you hope for?
Well, some of these requests, Pete, are simply clarifications. What does net gain mean? What does unacceptable impact mean? Exactly how is the structure of the new EPA body, a brand new body for a federal government, going to work? How's it going to interact with already existing state EPAs? These are really important questions that the government has failed to answer. Now, if they can answer them, we're a step further forward.
Any concerns about a deal being done with the Greens?
Well, I know that for the sake of the business community, for the sake of the economy, we would much rather that the government deal with the Coalition on this. But they have to demonstrate good faith in doing that. Now, we can see that the Environment Minister, Murray Watt, has moved somewhat. That's a good thing. but we still have questions that need answering.
I'll tell you what.
We've been dealing in good faith with this from day one. We've proposed a constructive path forward. We are not being obstructive in any way, but we do want to get this right because it's too important not to.
Got a lot of questions just on another issue. This Weather Bureau redesign, Jane, the bill is almost at $100 million. $100 million. Have you got any thoughts on that this morning?
This is the first I've heard of it in the newspapers today, Pete, and it absolutely blew my mind. Nearly $100 million to redesign a website. Now, the good news is we have a Senate estimates next week, and I'm absolutely certain that there will be questions asked of the Bureau of Meteorology exactly about this. What was the scope of the original contract to redesign a website and an app? Was it outsourced or was it done in-house? We know that there needs to be an overhaul of security systems and cybersecurity and everything else, but $100 million sounds like an excessive amount of money to get something done that should be so basic. You would think.
And excessive. That's one way to put it for sure. Jane, best of luck this week on the final dance of the year, shall we say. We'll see you next week.